What's going on, great people? It's Houssam Makki here with another episode of Reborn to Inspire series. And today is going to be a great day because we are having a wonderful spirit who's going to talk to us about her experience to be reborn to inspire, or taking the decision to reborn after her challenge to inspire others. She's a wonderful soul, wonderful spirit. What I love about her is that um, we met a few months ago, or we connected a few months ago, yet with a short period of time, she was able to grab the attention. And if you know me, I focus on these things. So I had her in mind that she will be on the show and she will be dropping, I'm telling you, she will be dropping great nuggets in her story. You see, Reborn is not, um, coming back from an accident or overcoming a tragedy, but it's a principle of life that applies to challenges, obstacles, adversities, you name it. Whatever hardship you go through, you have two options. Either you decide to reborn to inspire others, or you accept it and live as a victim of what's happening to you and what you're going through. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to drop the mic and give it to my very good friend, Andrea. Andrea, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hassam, thank you so much for having me on. How are you doing today? Welcome,
I'm
everyone.
doing I'm doing great. Better than good, actually. So
That's
how are you doing?
and I'm doing great. I am here living my dream, impacting and influencing others based on what I love. Lessons
Wonderful.
I've learned, life I live, and just being myself.
Great, great, great.
Mhm.
All right. So before I ask you the common question, I want you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Absolutely. Everyone, my name is Andrea Mason. I am your personnel accountability partner. I am an international motivational speaker. I am your accountability partner, and I have over 2 decades in the mental health, wellness, social work, and psychology field. And I'm excited to be here upon this platform with you.
Wonderful. So we're going to start with the common question that I ask all my guests to start with. All right. I want to ask you, or I want you to describe the major event. Of course, you have been through a lot,
Yes.
but I want you to talk about this specific or major event that put you, between two options. Either you overcome and decide to reborn yourself to inspire others, or give up. So, can you describe to us what does that event look like?
Absolutely. So we're going to travel back in time into 2016.
Hmm.
I thought I had the world at my fingertips. I was doing what I loved, helping people, making a difference, and going through life and being productive. I had a dream in the eighth grade that I wanted to be a social worker because I came from a childhood that was difficult. I was born in a war torn drug zone era in Colombia. And it was that my parents had to make the ultimate sacrifice to put me up for adoption. They put me up for adoption and I was sent to America. I was only 11 pounds at 11 months old. Imagine
Hmm.
that. That's a pound per month. Fast forward, I was welcomed with open arms into an unconditional loving family that had loved me, accepted me for all my shortcomings and strengths, and given me a proper childhood. I didn't fit in throughout my years because I was different. I looked different, I acted different, and I spoke different. And I thought, what do I have to do to fit in? And it took me years to try to keep up with my peers in school. I had to work 10 times harder than the average student just to get by. And the only place that I felt safe was in my home. I was getting
mm,
bullied and picked on, and I couldn't take it anymore. It was to the point, just imagine being thrown into garbage cans, shoved into lockers because you are of a petite stature and you didn't look like everybody else.
mm,
But I went through high school trying to hide behind my athleticism. I was an avid soccer player, a great athlete, and I put my mind to everything that I've done. When it was time to ask Andrea, what did you want to do with your life and your career? My answer was to help those who were different, to understand what made everybody different. And I chose the path of social work. My parents were successful bankers, both in Wall Street and the local communities. And they wanted, and I still hear them today, do your best and do what you love.
mm,
That struck a chord with me. And I did everything in my power to learn and understand who I was. But when you go through relationships and you fear being abandoned from where you were from, and the only unconditional love you've ever experienced was from your family and your parents, it was hard to love others because
mm,
they didn't accept you. After some short time, I had challenged myself to go as far as I possibly could in the social work field because I wanted to work in schools, in institutions, in hospitals, on the streets. I have dedicated over 2 decades of my life in the mental, medical, holistic wellness field. But you know what? It hit me like a ton of bricks. At 2016, I was grinding so hard that I didn't know what it meant to have a life work balance. I would go into the office early and then I would stay late just to get my job done. To their standards? No, to mine, because I was that of a perfectionist. And I felt if I did everything right and I dotted my I's and crossed my T's, I would be parallel to everyone else. Maybe in the hopes of standing out and above and being acknowledged and recognized for who I was.
mm,
But I shunned that in the shadows. I hid behind my work and I just went to work and to the office nonstop. Till one day, I wasn't feeling quite myself. I went to school and I went to work. I was doing both, and I had trouble breathing. I didn't understand what was going on. Sure, I had pre existing conditions of rheumatoid arthritis, osteoporonia. I had my appendix removed, my gallbladder with 7 ulcers on it, and I was just running the rat race of life. I was just not taking care of myself. So I ended up in the hospital. I was had undergone several tests. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. They just saw a lack of breath. They said maybe it could have been, an anxiety attack or a panic
mm,
attack.
mm,
So they sent me home. Less than 24 hours later, I received a call from the doctor's office. And they had said, Mrs. Mason, you need to come to the hospital immediately. We looked over one test. So I got dressed, drove myself to the hospital. Next thing I know, upon arrival, I had collapsed and I was hooked up to machines. I was immediately taken to the ICU unit. Was unable to have use of all four limbs. My breathing had been impacted so much that they put me on respirators and monitored me. Here I am thinking, what happened? I was fine less than 24 minutes, 24 hours ago. I just had a little breathing problem. I used my inhaler, and it was found out that they had diagnosed me with myasthenia gravis. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is a Graves' disease where your whole system shuts down. So all I was there in the hospital bed with my thoughts and beeping noises. Imagine that. All you have use of is your mind. Now I'm thinking, what could possibly have triggered this? I'm going through the role plays in my head, trying to figure out what happened. And it was unbeknownst to me, the silent killer, stress. I
Mm.
was not taking care of myself. Your health is your number one asset. So if you're not taking care of you first, how could you take care of anyone else? Here I was in the hospital room, unable to see my family for a week, let alone our son, hooked up to machines, unable to breathe, unable to walk, fearing and realizing at that moment I was still grieving the loss of my mother 9 years later. I never dealt
Mm.
with it. I didn't deal with stress, emotions. I had to be strong. I had to be resilient. I had to keep on going. But like you and I know, we're human. In the end, we're still human. We are the only species that has the capability of emotions. And if you are unable to control your emotions and your mind, it, the rest is glim. So I remember speaking to my husband on the phone that night. He was caring for our whole family. And he said, Andrea, you need to come home. Our baby boy needs you. He's fearing if he ever see his mother again. They wouldn't allow family in the ICU unit how in the condition I was in, let alone would I want him to see the condition I was in. And I remember a few months ago, we started, my husband and I, on the path towards unplug and investing in your mind and learning and putting in the information and data that you want to have, not being wired and programmed by others, by investing in your mind. And key movies, one of the key movies that we had watched was that of The Secret.
Mm.
And pardon the spoiler alert ahead, but there's one segment that speaks about health.
Right,
And this
right.
gentleman had survived a plane crash. Doctors told
Yes.
him he would never walk again. And if you recall, Houssam, he put an actual physical date in his mind and achieved it. And I remember the conversation. We need you home. So it was up to me to make the choice. Am I going to survive or am I going to thrive? And it was
Mm.
at that moment I had visioned myself walking out of that hospital in the arms of my family. Next morning, fast forward, we are at the point of decisions. The team was to come in the next day to decide whether or not I was going to remain on the ICU unit for an extended period of time or to be discharged. I remember them coming in and saying, okay, Mrs. Mason, I know this has been hard on you. I know it has been difficult for you to even use any extremities of your body, but we are going to tell you, should you not be able to walk, your stay may be extended until further notice. I just smiled. I said, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Draped over my feet, over onto the hospital bed. I jumped down. Yes, jumped because I'm petite. And I jumped down and I walked to the nurse's station and back. I still remember their faces in complete, utter surprise.
Mm.
The head doctor came in. They shared their results. And he said, we've run our final series of tests until we do a second go round. Everything is negative. The determining factor was for you to walk again and have all uses of your limbs and extremities and to breathe on your own. They passed him the clipboard and he said, I have not seen this before, but I am happy to say you can be discharged. And I remember waiting for my father and my best friend to meet me, take my bags. And that afternoon, we drove straight to our son's school. I hid in the back seat and I notified the school. He comes into the car with my father and I turn around and I tap him on the shoulder. I said, Mijo. He turned around and I still remember this today. Mommy, it's like Christmas. I prayed for you to get better and I'm so happy you're here. I love you. And until we got home, he held my hand. The power of the mind is an amazing gift. It can be a weapon, or it can be a tool. And it's how you use your mind. That mind over matter always works. It was
Mm.
that time that I realized through the toughest times, miracles are made. If you follow your heart and not the hurt nor the herd, all will be successful. Through life's trials and tribulations, triumphs have been won. And once you plan a life according to you and press play on life, the end results are of success and pure happiness. I am proud to say today, in 2021, I have a clean bill of health, free from all pre existing conditions, and am living my dream as a motivational speaker, an accountability partner, one who has conquered everything in her life with love and is here to have my influence and impact be bestowed upon the world. Everybody has lessons and losses. Everybody has wins and struggles. But once you have your heart and mind combined, you can achieve anything.
Wow,
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Andrea. And I salute you. I salute you for the bravery that you had and for allowing the mind taking over when you were, at the hospital, applying what you have fed your mind itself since your childhood.
Absolutely.
So, based on what you shared with us,
Yes.
I want you to make it clear what is the message. Like, okay, you've been mentioning it through um, your story and through what you shared, but I want you to make it straight to the point. What's the message that you got out of this experience and you are um, polishing it and sharing it with others today?
Great question. The message I have for all who are watching and listening: everything you do in life is with intention, and there is a choice that you take the pen to your own story. You can either choose to face the fears and face the struggles and fail forward, or you can choose to settle and stay stuck in your current situation. It's all about power. The power of the heart and your mind will get you to wherever you need to go.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
Andrea, I want to ask you this question.
Yes.
I don't know if you've been in this situation, but I'm gonna share it from my my experience.
Mhm.
Um, 10 years ago, when I started my journey, I began hearing I began to hear people talking about the mindset and saying that the mindset is everything. And let me admit that at the first phase of my journey, I was kind of um, you know let's say underestimating the term mindset, or maybe because I didn't have the full knowledge about what does it mean. I didn't believe
Mhm.
in it until I started experiencing it, just like you did. You experienced it, and to be honest, every one of us is experiencing the act of the mindset in a way or another, you know. But why I'm sharing this with you is because there are so many people who will be underestimating the word mindset, who will be underestimating the people who talk about the power of taking control of your mind and setting your mind to the best. In fact, I have posted something before our interview about the mindset, and funny that today you're talking about it. I
Mhm.
want you to tell me, what do you say to these people who have the misconception about mindset, or maybe who don't understand what does it mean or how effective it is? What would you tell them
Excellent
in
question.
short?
Excellent question. Mindset, the simplest way that I try to work with individuals and help individuals is, think about this. If you are in a mixed group of company and all of a sudden someone says, "I'm hungry." Oh, I'm hungry. Or I have to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom. You're programming these statements into your mind where our subconscious and conscious aren't able to differentiate which is a good mindset, a good perspective per se, or a negative perspective. And the simplest way for mind shift is that of the secret that was taught. I believe, it was, if you see it in your mind, you see it in your hand. And it's just
Mm,
an amazing concept, as simple as saying, you know what? It would be great if I had a cup of coffee right now. And all of a sudden, someone buys you a cup of coffee, or it happens. The cliche and the most popular example, and I'll keep it brief: you buy a Jeep, okay? All of a sudden, you see
mm,
Jeeps everywhere. That's the simplest thing.
right.
It's the law of attraction. What you see in your mind, you see in your hand. And the mind does not have the ability to differentiate positive and negative. So choose your thoughts and your words wisely, as whatever they are will be the outcome. That's the simplest
All
way
right.
I can explain it.
All right.
You know?
If somebody came to you and told you, I don't believe in that,
Mhm.
what would you tell them?
I didn't
You
either.
see, today, I'm asking you questions
Hmm.
as you are an accountability partner
Yes.
in the journey of others.
Hmm.
So I'm putting myself in their shoes,
Okay.
and I'm trying to challenge you a bit, you
Okay.
know, and asking you these questions that might be asked by individuals who need accountability in certain things, but they don't know how to, what are the things that they need to use for them to move forward. And we know that mindset is the base of everything, if it's not everything. All
Correct.
right.
Yes.
So if somebody comes to you and tell you, I don't believe in setting the mind, or I don't believe in the power of it,
Okay.
what would you tell this person?
Well, that's a great question because I was at that place at a moment in time.
Hmm.
Many times we live through life with blinders on, whether we're trying to be
Mhm.
focused and driven to achieve a goal or to shun out and quiet the noise of what's going on. And it's a double edged sword. One side of the coin, you can be driven and focused, but think that there's only one way. I help
Hmm.
you think outside the box. Use your imagination that you would have never thought would be possible. And I also assess and we go through it together on what you have already tried. The definition of, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I have the ability based on my background and my belief in you. That's what it is, the belief in yourself. Because when you do something for someone else, you make sure you hold yourself accountable for that person. And most of the time, we don't do that for ourselves. And the lack of belief is not that maybe that they aren't aware of it, but they never had an experience to utilize it.
Hmm.
And it's important that we realize that there's so many different ways than one. So if you were to ask me, Andrea, I don't believe it. I don't think it's possible. I don't have the capability or knowledge to do that. I don't think that's ever going to happen. That is why the situation presents itself in your situation, because you have to have belief. You have to have the knowledge. You have to have the understanding that it is possible.
Hmm.
Just like the great inventors and scientists and people in our world. What made them different than us is they never stopped believing. And that's where it all stems from.
Hmm. So you're saying that mindset starts with believing,
Absolutely.
right? All right.
And everybody comes with different belief systems as they grow up. It could be that
Mm-hmm.
of their culture, their education, their support system. And a lot of times, what I've able to discover and help individuals is the healing through the power of forgiveness. Because a lot of times we blame others for our situations and our circumstances
Hmm.
when we don't look in the mirror reflection of why we are where we are. What do we have to tweak? What do we have to alter? What other angle can we alter our perspective to see a different point of view? And nine times out of 10, the 100 people, the 99 people that support you, and that one person that doesn't, we fall victim to that person and believe that one person over the 99 because of the belief. Sometimes the harder things are easy to believe because that's all we've experienced, that's all we've known.
Hmm.
So once you step outside your comfort zone and explore all other options, perspectives, and creative ways, Albert Einstein, knowledge will get you so far, imagination will get you everywhere.
Right. Right. Yeah, I love this statement.
Hmm.
It was one of the statements that I started with uh, a decade ago.
Wow.
All right. So after the experience that you had in the hospital, what was the first thing that came up to your mind? What was the thing that you said, like, you see, because I had a similar experience,
Hmm.
not in the illness, but similar experience. I was admitted to the hospital because of my dysfunctional kidney. And I had a similar situation in having a moment of silence and thinking over what happened with me and what's going on.
Hmm.
And I had, I spent at least a week between, four other patients who were lying down in their beds, and they were all in pain. And although I I wasn't in that pain, but I was feeling painful
Hmm.
because of their pain.
Absolutely.
You see, I was surrounded with these three patients who were, screaming at night
Hmm.
uh, from the pain. So I was feeling their pain, and I was in pain because of their pain.
Hmm. Yes,
So
absolutely. Absolutely.
in this moment of silence that I had, one of the things that controlled my mind. I was thinking, what's going to be the first thing that I'm going to do when I break free from here? Because I'm gonna go out of this place no matter what. So,
Right.
what was the first thing that you have done when you went out to the hospital?
Well, like I said, obviously it was to see our son and my family, but I was making a declaration to the world that this will not happen again. I refuse, I refuse to be unhealthy.
Mm,
I need to live to share my message and story with the world. I need to make it a point to alter my perspective on life. The analogy of, in the planes, put your mask on first before helping
mm,
others.
yep.
And that was my mission that I still live today, helping myself to be the best version of me so I can help others. And that's what
So,
I did. I decided that I was no longer going to live by their rules, that I was in charge of every single choice I made, and that every choice I made was wisely, intentionally,
mm.
and for the better.
So I assume that when you went when you were admitted to the hospital, you realized that after, like, first of all, you didn't have a clue why this happened,
Right.
but then you understood that it was because of the stress.
Hmm. Yes.
So what was your action plan after you left the
My
hospital?
action plan actually was to start the business that I now run.
Hmm.
Press play on life. Plan life according to you. Make
And
life your own.
yeah, I want you to talk more into what you're doing.
Absolutely. So I help and guide people. I am the creator and innovator of a life transformational course called Play.
Hmm.
Plan life according to you.
Hmm.
Through this course, you achieve personal freedom. And what I mean by personal freedom, You do that through the healing power of forgiveness. Everyone in the world has to forgive someone, hasn't forgiven someone, or is asking for forgiveness. And these are the barriers and blockages that keep us in our subconscious of why we do or we don't do what we do. I am here because of her. I obtained this personality trait because of him. I don't trust people because I got hurt in a relationship.
Mm.
I'm not as successful because my coaches and my teachers didn't believe in me. And once you achieve personal freedom, you achieve anything. And I walk with you every step of the way. Together, we identify your goals and what you want to achieve. We become aware of what are the blockages or barriers that you're experiencing. And we look at the avenues that you've already tried. And together, we create a whole new pattern and perspective on how you
Wow.
can achieve your goals and become accountable and responsible and live your dreams like I'm living mine today.
What an amazing, amazing, amazing. Um, you know, seriously, you are one of the few people that I know who translated their adversity right. Like you had the right translation. Because when you were in the when you were when you had this experience, when you were admitted to the hospital, it's like you pressed stop
Mm-hmm.
for a moment. I need to think.
Mm-hmm.
And then you came out and then you press play. So to me, this is a proper and a right translation. Um, Taking your adversity, as one of our friends, I have to mention his name because
I know
I
you do.
loved also.
Yep.
So I'm gonna tell you to mention his name.
Mr. Nelson Belteshazzar.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. He's the person who said that translate your adversity into your advantage, and that's what you have done.
Yes.
And I think that you guys have something in common, or you crossed roads together. So
Yes.
no, I mean no coincidence in that. But I loved the right translation that you have done to your life, pressing play,
Mm-hmm.
plan life according to to you.
Yes.
That's a great message. Thank you so much for sharing that,
Absolutely.
and I want you to share with us what's your success formula in general.
My success formula in general, number one, to always act with integrity and passion. Because if you're not your authentic self and do what you love, you're just going to be doing it as it is. Number two, remember where you came from and remember who was along your way and who was sidelined and who observed. And be grateful for everyone along that path because, quite honestly, even the naysayers and the non believers are the fuel to my success. Not only to
Mm.
do it for them, but for myself, but for a world in need. And finally, the third one is to follow your heart and not the herd. The herd will lead you to get hurt. But if you follow your heart will always do what is right. Those are the three keys that I have followed because it is important. Sometimes when we try to help others, we forget about ourselves and we don't want to be fake and we don't want to do things of ill attention. So that's why integrity and passion and authenticity is my brand. Number two is not remember is remembering those through all the times, because some people in our lives to teach us lessons, some who have lost to leave a legacy for us to follow, and others who are with us along the journey, such as yourself. These are the leaders that are going to have a powerful impact and influence. And then following your heart will never steer you wrong. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Wonderful. And what is the mantra that you're lived by?
God has blessed me with an amazing initials. I am Andrea Mason. I am enough. I am powerful. I am one who is passionate. I am unique. So everything begins
Wonderful.
my day with I am.
Great. So I can say that these are affirmation
Yes.
also. All
Correct.
right.
Yes.
All right. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. When I said she's the queen of I am, I made no mistake. She's the queen of I am. She starts her I am statement as an affirmation, and she is a product of the product. That's why I told you that she's going to drop great nuggets. Andrea, before we close out,
Yes.
what would you like to say?
We all have a story in our life. We all hold the pen to our own story. But just like a book, you may come in one's book at a different chapter, and they may come in yours at another. But in the end, we are all in the conclusion of being happy and united here on earth and thereafter. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Andrea.
Thank you.
Seriously, this session was great. I loved your story. I loved the transition and the translation that you have made in your life. May God bless you with everything that you're doing, and keep doing what you're doing, because you never know who's watching.
This is
And
true.
I really love what you're doing. Although
Thank you.
I'm not that active on you know
All it
on the
takes is
group maybe.
it is believing in me and
What is
having
it?
me on it's belief. It's having me on this
Yep.
platform.
Yes.
You know, most of the strongest people who provide support are silent, but I know that you're there and I appreciate you for all and everything along the way.
Same here. Thank you so much, Andrea. And this was like a great episode, as I told you, and I really enjoyed it personally. Thank you so much. And do you want to close out with anything, or that's it?
No,
I mean, I'm not able to get enough from what
no,
you're sharing. So.
absolutely. Another reason why I chose play is because life is short and you have to have
Mm-hmm.
fun. Look at the children. They have fun. The young adults, they have fun. That's what it's about. Forever unlimited nurturance. Fun. If we don't have fun in life, we're just robots. If we can't laugh and cry and be ourselves, we're not human. You know, Mr. Les Brown says, are you going through it or are you growing through it? That has been so powerful for me on my journey, because so many times and so many years I was going through it. But now I learned how to have fun and I press play and I'm growing through it. And I thank you for
Wonderful.
believing
See,
in
I told you. I told you. I didn't want to close.
No, it's
I
amazing.
told
I
you that
love
you
what you
still
do.
have something to say.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I a challenge for you out there who are struggling. Do me a favor right now, if you're watching, comment or hit a smiley face and say the word happy without smiling. I challenge you because that will change your
Sure.
channel for the day. It's a little
No
thing I
doubt.
learned.
No doubt.
So
No doubt. Thank you so
absolutely.
much, Andrea, for all the input.
Always.
And I'm sure that you have a lot to share.
Yes.
Keep on doing what you're doing. We're
Thank you.
following. You never know who's watching, and you are
Absolutely.
inspiring others. Thank you for choosing to Reborn to inspire.
And I thank you for being here. You have a purpose, you're pursuing it, and I'm grateful for that. Definitely. Keep on thriving.
Appreciate it. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you
Mhm.
so much, and have a great day, my friend.
You too. Take care.
Bye bye.